What's up, Jeremy back, and today we're going to be talking about I needed to change my life. And so I talked about it on my previous video, but I wanted to kind of go further into it. And so I'm not gonna lie, I'm a senior, right? Yeah, I'm 18 years old, just turned 18 probably 6 months ago. It's been some time. And so 18 has treated me quite like bad, honestly. It's been horrible. Yo, 18 years old has probably been like the worst part of my life. I've gone through existential crisis, and I'm glad I'm going through these things now though. So like that, oh, I'm not having these things at middle life where I'm stuck at a dead-end job. I got kids, and I can't really just go and take risk and be who it is that I want to become. But kind of the cataclysm for all of this stuff was I went through a really messy breakup, and it was bad, man. Like, I genuinely cared about this girl, and I don't want to throw shade at her because I still go to school with her, but I don't really care. But I did care about this girl a lot. I really did. I put my all, and I put a lot of investment forward, like bread and everything. And I'm a person, we all go through things. Like, we could all seem like good on one side. We all kind of portray this image, or we at least try to, that everything is good. And I could try to teach you guys everything that I learned, but at the end of the day, I still go through things too. But I'm gonna speak on how this led to me changing my life for the better, and kind of pursuing my passion, which is these videos and teaching people, and kind of further things that I have planned later on. I'm about to graduate soon, so once that happens, pedal to the metal, you feel me? But going back into it, I went through a kind of messy breakup, and I remember, we broke up, and it went smooth, but kind of the way it happened after was like it was almost rubbed in my face, and it was just very messy. And having to still see her on a constant basis, it was hard for me, man. And I had never gone through like an emotional type of pain. Like, I'm good with physical pain. Like, I could go through physical pain like it's nothing. It's just something you sit out, wait out. But an emotional type of pain, it was something that like stayed with me. It was like it was living with me, like this sadness and this like hurt. And a lot of people, they might be going through this right now. They might be thinking like, dang, like how long does it take for this to go away? And I remember people used to just tell me it takes time, and it is right, but there are things that you can do to get over that and to change your life from this, because at the end of the day, from every bad, you want to take good from it to become a better version of what you were yesterday. And so it kind of led me to focusing and kind of reaching clarity, and I saw that the way I was living didn't align with that I truly always wanted to be. I had these visions, these dreams always living in my mind of this version of myself, of who I was. But the way that I was living my life was a life of comfortability, a life that was like, if I had already got all the stuff, or like if I already was that person, I was enjoying myself, I was just spending money on just whatever. And I think that in a relationship, that kind of comes natural though, because a relationship is a sense of comfortability that is unmatched to anything that you could have in life. Like I think it's even worse than drugs, to be honest. Like, because you will get so comfortable, because it was like, I guess that's just biologically everything that a man, like the end goal, because like I guess biologically, like the end goal is to just procreate and to just kind of push on the seed. And so like, I guess your body, once it like knows that it's with a partner, or even be it a girlfriend, you reach a level of comfortability. And especially if you start spending money and you start going out and doing things, it's like everything that you're working for, it slowly starts to get put on pause or even die. And so moving past that, let's going forward, skip time a little bit. I was living this roller coaster up and down type of life. Like, I remember I would be good one day, like at the end of the days I would be good at my house, trying to like learn or become more knowledgeable or level up. But then I remember I'd go back to school, or I'd go back to an environment where it kind of left me with some trauma, and I was living from these peaks where, I feel like everything was good, like everything is going for me, where it's like now I'm all the way back down here where like life is attacking me. My heart is beating out of my chest. I feel like my head's about to explode. Like, what do I do? How can I get rid of this? And it was horrible, man. It genuinely was. I think that a breakup or a heartbreak truly is necessary to become, what it is that you need to become. And I think that, there's a quote from Full Metal Alchemist where it's like, you need to give up something in equal value to gain something of equal value. And that was my everything at the time. That was my max comfortability. That was everything that I was putting my energy, time, and money into. And that's all I had to offer. So it was everything that I was doing. I always looked forward to that. I had my joy in that. And I was stuck in that level of comfortability. I truly was. I was not progressing. And the things that I was doing, because I was doing trading at the time, and I was putting so minimal effort and so minimal time. But I kind of tricked myself in my own mind, saying that, oh, I am being productive, I am being better than my peers, because at least I'm doing something that, has the possibility to be able to kind of make me a lot of money or progress me further in life. And but it was just a facade. It truly was just a lie to myself that I was just being productive, because I promise you, I was not spending any time on education, learning, furthering my skill. I was just practicing it, probably for less than an hour every single day, probably 30 minutes the max. And it was causing me a lot of, I guess, issues as well, even in that relationship. A lot of stress and a lot of anxiety was coming from that, because I would fail, obviously, because I wasn't putting the proper necessary effort and time needed to be successful in that. And so it caused me a lot of issues in that, and a lot of issues in that relationship. But I don't want to speak too much on that no more. It's more about kind of the fact that then after that, God had to strip me of all those things, to be able to change. Like I had said earlier, you need to lose something of that equal worth. I had my everything in all of those things, in trading, in that relationship. I had my everything. It was my all. And it simply was not sustainable. It's not a sustainable type of way to live life, especially at such a younger age and kind of in a broke state where, like, I had nothing to offer really, and where I was trying to make myself something, but also trying to give parts of myself to somebody. And it's simply, the math doesn't math. You need to first become something of worth. And of course not, it doesn't have to be like that. There's relationships where, people come up together, but it takes a level of sacrifice from both parties. And if both parties are not willing, then it simply will not work. And it's just a lot of extra struggle and a lot of extra, I guess, just problems. It is way better if you come up with somebody like that, and you guys are able to come up together. And it's nice because that loyalty is probably going to stay there for the rest of your life, and that you have a real deal, stay down girl. But your relationship was, in that whole beginning phase, is structured around, being broke, having nothing to offer. And so it's such a dangerous game to play. And especially, you are trying to still provide as a man. And so you're giving up an arm and a leg that you don't really have to offer. That arm and leg, you're supposed to be putting it into yourself, into your, developing yourself. And not just that, you're also giving up time. Time in this, a lot of people, they take time for granted at this age. And you really can't. This time is the most valuable, I would say, because it's the time that you get to just fully risk and put on the table and put it all along the line to, just fail and become the person that you want to be. Because, in that, you find who it is that you want to be. And kind of after all of that had happened, I found clarity. I found purpose. I found kind of direction. I found my own path in life. And I had to realize that I can't be looking left to right. I can't, because everybody else's path is so different. It even looks different. It looks different. It smells different. It feels different. Every part of it is different. And this is my path. And so I found my purpose in that. And I found my purpose in trying to help people, trying to make videos. There's other things that I've got planned further down the line that I'm truly excited about. And especially, graduation is coming up for me. There's many things that have just pushed me into a deeper sense of self and clarity and purpose in that. And I can't go back, but wait, pause, cut right here. And I would never be able to go back into that person that it was before. And yeah, I might slip up time to time and fall into bad habits. But through discipline and consistency, I realized that is the only way that I will have changed my life. You know, through discipline is the only way that I realized that you're able to come out of that, you know, quote unquote depression, which I was in, to kind of better yourself or change your life for the better. And you need that. You honestly need that. I remember so many times I just would speak to people, talk about my problems, and I remember constantly, it was like almost because I'm very religious, I'm really big on Christianity. And so I feel as if God was sending me signs where people would tell me, you know, misery loves company and a bunch of things. And it was like, I couldn't see it at the time. But now that I look back on those few beginning months of when I was in that state where it was, yeah, misery truly does love company. I was just sharing my misery with anybody to just feel something. I remember I used to just spend all my money on clothes. You know, even this shirt that I have right here, this shirt was like probably $100. And you know, it's whatever. You know, I do like clothes and it's something that I have passion for, but it's not something that I should have bought at that current time, but I bought it to feel something. And I'm glad I didn't go to the furthest state where it was like taking advantage of people or, you know, partaking in drugs or anything like that. But I remember I used to just take advantage of people by just talking to them, you know, just literally trauma dumping all that. And it was horrible. And, you know, it didn't lead to nothing. I remember I would feel good in the moment, but then right after I'd feel horrible. But what I did realize was discipline and consistency is the only way to change. You need to change your immediate situation. And it takes taking a level of accountability for everything that happens. Yeah, maybe I wasn't at fault for everything that had brought me to that point, but I need to be able to take accountability to everything that I could have done better to kind of not avoid that, because I feel like everything happens for a reason, but kind of to be a better person on the other side of this for the next time, you know, maybe in a relationship or even in a life aspect like that, I'm not so caught up in all those things that I was in before. And the biggest and hardest part of it is just the consistency of that. The consistency of, you know, taking the step forward to realize that, okay, yeah, I forgive myself for making those mistakes and for being that way and for lacking in those ways and not being the way that I am now. But I understand now that, you know, I am on a different level of discipline and consistency. I am moving in faith with the person that now I do want to be. And, you know, it's sad to say that it took that to get me to this point, but you have to lose something to be able to gain. And I have gained so much wisdom. I have gained so much clarity and purpose, discipline and consistency in who it is that I want to become. And so at the end of the day, I do say it was worth it. And that is a hard pill to swallow at the end of the day, because at times I'm human. I think about these things. I ruminate, not too much, but time to time. And it's just like, I just feel like this overwhelming, just damn. But what can I do? All I can do is just push forward. And those were my thoughts. Like and subscribe. See you guys next time.